Hey everybody, sorry about that. I think the music ran out. I was just finishing my lunch. How are we doing? What's going on, folks? Happy holidays, everybody. It's time for an adventure prep stream. I don't know if anyone's even going to make it today because of how close we are to the holiday, but I wanted to get a couple more of these streams in because I don't know that I'll be able to be doing them much in January. I'm going to be away from my normal setup for a couple of weeks in like beginning of January to kind of middle of January, so I won't be able to be doing any streams. So I wanted to, hey, there's David. What's going on, man? I'm glad you could make it. I was like, I don't know if anyone's going to be here today, but it's lovely to see you. Yeah, I'm going to be in Minnesota. My sister is having a baby, and I've decided to go out there and be a good brother and, like, support her during that. So I'm going to be in Minnesota for about 3 weeks while she, has the baby and kind of gets settled and everything. But while I'm there, I'll be able to run my games for contract, but the internet connection I have will not support streaming. So I'm unfortunately going to be streamless for a couple of weeks, which will be a bummer. But it'll be cool to get back to it, I think, when we come back. Yeah, what's going on? How was everybody's holiday? Mine was pretty good. It was sort of, it's kind of like half over. It's not quite finished yet because we had sort of a Christmassy thing. We're not particularly religious. So my wife and I just kind of hung out and played video games because she's off of work. And most of my games, they were canceled over the holiday sort of a week. We are going to do a little bit of like a sort of silly Viking Yule festival tomorrow night. So we bought some lamb and we're going to, drink beer and, play Hnefatafel and stuff. So that's tomorrow night. So we're kind of like halfway in the middle of the holiday celebration. David says you were busy. You could have used a few more days off of work. I agree. You should have all the days off of work as far as I'm concerned, David. I don't think you should go to work at all. I'm glad it was good, though. That's nice. Cold there in Chicago? I would be headed back your way soonish, and I am not prepared for the cold. Great. Speaking of the cold, I am going to be running a one-shot on Thursday. This is for a group of relatively new D&D players. Not all of them are 100% new, but several of them are. Yeah, I'm going to be running this game for them. It's going to be interesting because, I'm not sure. We only have 2 hours to play, and a lot of them are new, and we're going to be on Roll20, so I'm a little worried that we're really not going to get through too much. But what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of talk through the idea that I had and kind of how to develop it. It might be a shorter stream because, again, we have less material to cover. But my chief anxiety about it is that they're new players and they don't... they've never used Roll20 before, and we only have 2 hours. So, like, I would be surprised if we get that much done, but that's okay. Like, the point is just kind of to introduce them to the game itself. So... I want, like, we're sort of past Christmas, but I wanted to do sort of like a holiday themed, like winter themed game, because that kind of is where my mind is right now. And I was thinking about the Wild Hunt, which I've used a couple times before, and it's like a fun kind of pagan-y feeling winter, like like phenomena almost that you could base an adventure around. And The Witcher just came out again, so I've been kind of thinking about The Witcher a little bit, and obviously the Wild Hunt features pretty prominently in that. So here's kind of the premise that I'm going off of, and we can kind of develop it from there. Trapped in a supernatural snowstorm in a small village, the heroes must defend the townsfolk and themselves from the rampaging Wild Hunt. So if you're not familiar, the Wild Hunt is a sort of Germanic folk tale about a sort of like ghostly host that goes rampaging across the sky. They do different things in different stories. Sometimes, they are kind of jolly revelers. Sometimes they are more predatory, kind of like human hunters. We're going to kind of go with that second interpretation, where it's kind of this like violent band of raiders that descends from above on flying horses. They are traditionally led by a number of figures, chief among them Odin, the Norse god of war and madness and poetry and magic. So I would say it's been featured in The Witcher. It's been featured in a number of things. A lot of different traditions have something similar to this. But I've used it at least once or twice in the past. I think I ran a level of Undermountain that was like a nature preserve with Hallister Blackcloak standing in for Odin, which was fun. But I think I'm going to do something similar here, but a little bit smaller and more focused. So I wanted something that was like a combat, but like unambiguously against sort of an evil force. Like I didn't really want it to be, rooting out goblins or anything like that. I've run an adventure in the past that called Adventurer Alert, which I really liked, where the players play goblins and try to fight adventurers who come into their dungeon. But one of the players from the last time I ran that is in this group, so I couldn't really in good faith run Adventurer Alert again. And I wanted something that felt kind of wintry. So, wintry, but with a combat against like an obviously like kind of unambiguously evil foe, right? Like these kind of rampaging marauders are not going to be hard to like vilify. I'm not going to, you're not kind of punching down, right? There's not a lot of like hand wringing about are they good or are they bad. But it's also, gives them a little bit of an opportunity to like role play and prep. Like I was doing some digging and I found a pretty decent like winter village map. And so I feel like I'll basically plop that in front of the players and say, okay, you're here. The village is kind of surrounded by this supernatural snowstorm that won't let you through. And the Wild Hunt is coming. Shadowrunner says construct snowmen. Yeah, exactly. Welcome, Shadowrunner. Thanks for coming. You're in this winter village, that they're descending upon you, but the question is like, what do you do to prepare? Maybe you have an hour before they get there and here they come. So to add some extra stakes to it, I kind of like the idea that like the trick is we only have 2 hours. So what I don't want to do is have there be a lot of like Helm's Deep style, okay, we're going to get prepared. I think it's got to be more like you get into the town, you quickly learn the stakes, and then they show up, and we just go right into the fight, right? So let's start talking about some of the stuff here. The map that I have is a small fishing village. So it's got like 5 buildings in it, right? And then it's got like a half of a frozen lake. So small fishing village constructed near frozen lake. I'm toying with the idea that it's like abandoned, right? Like abandoned seems empty when the characters arrive. I think like the characters have been traveling overland for some time. A sudden and unexpected snowstorm blusters in from nowhere and forces them to find a place to find shelter. Because I think that's like a pretty easy opening. I sometimes worry with these like one-shot adventures, like what is your lead in, right? And I think saying like you've been traveling and it's freezing and this blizzard is kind of coming in, you got to find some place to stop. Here's the first like place you find this village, right? There's some evidence of a nearby of activity in the village, like a finger of smoke from one of the buildings. Perhaps someone chopping or collecting wood. Like they see a shadow. They see a silhouette in the snow. I like especially if you play up the idea that they are very cold. Lore of the foe, whether true or false. Strengths, weaknesses, attack patterns, defenses of the village, resources available, escape routes. Yeah, that's all cool. I like that Shadowrunner. Like, you can spend some time doing that. Like, I like giving them a little bit of time. You know, you don't want to be like, oh, they're here, but it's like, oh, they're an hour away. Like, we know they're coming. Maybe they hear the howling of the dogs, or they hear the, like, horn blowing, you know, that suggests they'll be here soon. That way they have a little bit of time to be like, okay, what can we do? How do we figure this out, right? So I like the notion of a, like, they meet a family, right? Rather than, like, a whole village. Because we don't have time to, like, role play. These are all the individuals. I think it's like one family seeking refuge in this abandoned village. They meet a family. But, like, why? The family needs to be, like, hiding here for a reason. Like, the Wild Hunt. So either the Wild Hunt is just, like, moving through, and these people just happen to be caught here. Which, like, I think is fine. Like, you could get another group of travelers that is also stuck in this village, but, like, you know, why? Why are they here first? I kind of think Shadowrunner's idea about the lore of the foe is, like, they need to know, like, the players aren't going to know the Wild Hunt is a thing, so someone needs to tell them about it. So, yeah, I mean, I think the other option is that rather than, like, yeah, they meet a family in the ruins, family of lichens. Ooh, that's interesting. Could be, I guess. I feel like that would make them much more powerful. Hey, what's up, M. Grant? Ooh, Nuker Wolf. Yeah, Nuker Wolf's onto what I was thinking. The family is cursed. I'm thinking maybe, like, the child is cursed, right? They meet a family. It's very Witcher, I guess, but that's fine. Like, these kids have never played Witcher. They're not going to know. They meet a family in the ruins, one of whom is cursed. They have... Ooh, maybe we take Shadowrunner's idea a little bit, right? They have... Ooh, let's do this. The Hunter's Mark. A runic symbol on their forehead. That makes them a target for the Wild Hunt. Right? Is this child... Yeah, ooh, isn't alive is interesting. Yeah. Is this child a werewolf? So what I like about your idea, Shadowrunner, is that, like, if the kids really need help, this is a kid's game. Yeah, I'm Grant. This is a kid's game. Thanks for checking. What I like about your idea is that, like, that explains, like, the Wild Hunt goes after lichens, maybe. That's, like, their thing. But that it also gives, yeah, changeling's cool, something like that. Like, that's what I mean, is it's, like, I like the idea of a werewolf because it gives them, like, a hidden blade in the sleeve, right? That they can, oh, man, these bots. That, like, if things get really bad, then this kid can turn into a werewolf and come and help them. You know what I mean? Yeah. So something like that's cool, right? None of it was cursed. I like the idea of, like, a symbol on the forehead. Like, it's, like, unambiguous. They're being hunted, right? And this family basically, like, asks them for help. The family is suspicious at first. But when they see the heroes are armed adventurers, they ask them for help. Shortly thereafter, they hear the blowing of a distant horn. The Wild Hunt approaches. So again, we only have 2 hours, so we don't have the most time. We kind of have to just, like, get through the different points. But I like the idea that then they have an hour to prep. This gives the heroes 1 hour to prepare. Is there anything they want to do? Yeah, I was thinking about that too, David. Like, do the parents attack them initially. Like I think you can get away with that with like the woodcutter's axe, right? Like they have to seem kind of pathetic and like unable to defend themselves, but you can get that idea of like them being scared that the hunt has come for them, right? That like someone like trying to defend their child with a woodcutter's axe, right? Maybe just brandish a woodcutter's axe. What to do to prepare for the wild hunt's arrival. So like things they could do. So yeah, let's come up with like a short list of like little things they can do to prepare. So I have a map. I didn't post it with me. I found it like literally 10 minutes before the session before the stream started. Of like a little tiny sort of fishing village that's on the shore of a frozen lake. So it's like 5 or 6 buildings. There's a small island off the coast, like, you know, like off the coast, but like, you know, 30 feet away from the shoreline of the lake. It's got a little building on it. We're assuming the village is abandoned and that the lake is frozen. So normally the wild hunt flies, but I think it's more interesting if it gives them more options. Ooh, snowman decoys is cool. Yeah, snowman decoys. That's great. Maybe they see snowmen as they approach, like the kid was making them. Made by the kid. That could be like one of the clues that like someone has been here recently. Definitely like weaken the ice. I like the idea that the wild hunt's coming across the lake, right? Is where they're coming from, and so the you know, obviously the play is to like crack and weaken the ice to get ready to trap it, right? So the horses fall in. Ooh, I like that, M. Grant. Yeah, like a big bunch of junk. So the horses fall into the ice. What kind of random items should they have? Like if they scavenge junk in the village, you know, carts, wagons, like a crane, right, for loading fish. Father, mother, son, younger sister. Cannonballs. It's funny. Like anchors, maybe. Fishing poles with lines is really good. Yeah. Fishing poles. Ooh, nets. Yeah, fishing nets. That's cool. These are all great ideas, you guys. Look at this good chat. I was like, oh, no one's gonna be around. It's the holidays. Cool. Yeah, ropes. Lots of ropes. I like that. Hooks. Because I can even see like big cargo hooks too, right? You don't want to go nuts because it's a small town, but like if you have the crane, you know. That's interesting. Nuker Wolf's got something about the family. I don't hate that. I think it might be a little complex for what I have, but I think it's a good note to put down, right? So family is parents. I'm gonna roll for the parents. We're gonna see if it's a father, mother, or if it's 2 fathers or 2 mothers or whatever. Working from home, you got downtime. Great, happy to have you here. That's David's thing too. Is he always like comes and hangs out while he does his work. So I'm happy to be a distraction. You know, well, not hopefully too bad of a distraction, but let's see. Ooh, ice shoes is really good. Yeah, ice shoes, big icicles. These are all excellent, you guys. Ice shoes, big icicles, just like a whole bunch of stuff, right? Like cool areas. Let's put icicles somewhere else. Actually, let's put that as a different category. Icicles around the buildings. So they go looking for stuff. I can describe like, hey, here's a like the boathouse or whatever is full of random crap, right? It's got this crane, it's got these anchors, fishing poles, fishing nets. I think that's such a good idea because like because the kids love Minecraft. Like that's the one that like, constantly comes up. Like the kind of kids who I get hired to run for are the kind of kids who like to kind of mess around in Minecraft. So giving them a bunch like, here's a bunch of random tools, right? Go ahead and do what you need to do. Yeah. Icicles around the buildings. So we have parents. Oh, I was gonna roll for this. God, this might be a really quick stream, you guys. We're like flying through this already. So let's see, what was I doing? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's 2 women. So it's 2 moms. 2 moms. I like 2 siblings, though. That's interesting. Nuker Wolf. Yeah, it's a sister, and we'll do your idea. Younger sister. It's like older son, younger sister. I like the idea of like the older son is frightened. Yeah, Home Alone traps. Yeah, younger sister wants to fight them. Like I like the idea of them having like a little like 5-year-old who's like ready to go to war. You know, that's cool. Ooh, tar. Tar is good too. Yeah. Big barrels of tar. Okay, I think that's enough stuff because I worry that like too much stuff is gonna like yeah, they definitely have access to fire. Very flammable. I think that's enough stuff between the junk and the icicles and the tar and the snowmen. I think that that's plenty. What I want to do now maybe is focus on the wild hunt itself, you know. How do they work mechanically? What's their deal? So I like the idea of them having a leader. I definitely don't want to use Odin, but I like the idea of using one of Odin's names. So calling him like, you know, Yolnir or something like that. The Wild Hunt. So lead. Oh yeah, that's right. Older son is frightened. He's a werewolf though, right? If things get really bad or his sister gets hurt, the older son goes into werewolf mode and comes out to help the party. Werefolk. Werewolf mode. Yeah, that's cool. So like the girl wants to fight. The parents don't want the young sister to fight, but she insists. Yeah, you should, Nuker Wolf, please. I just needed like a quick, a really fast one. So their leader, I think, is, I like the idea of calling him Yolnir. Yolnir. Why can't I get that? Oh, there we go. Yolnir, which means like the Yol one, right? The Yule one. These characters are 2nd level, so they are not very high level. I'm giving them pre-gens because it's just like a one-shot. And then I'm thinking like 4, and there's 5 of them. So I'm thinking it's like Yolnir and then like 4 Huntsmen. Huntsmen 4. So the way I usually do this, they're definitely mounted. Yeah, Yulnir, exactly. Yolnir. They're definitely mounted, and the way I usually do mounted monsters and creatures in D&D is that I do them as one monster. You know, so like if it's like a goblin on a warg and the goblin has 15 hit points and the warg has 15 hit points, I say it's like, you know, goblin cavalier or whatever, goblin scout. And it's, whenever you deal 15 damage, like basically whenever the monster is bloodied, you can choose whether you want to take out the goblin or the warg. And if you take out the goblin, okay, then whatever the monster loses its like bow attack. But if you take out the warg, then the goblin loses its bite attack. Right, so it's rather than it being like, okay, I have to keep track of like what's the movement of the horse versus the movement of the rider. It's like they're one creature, but when they get bloodied, they lose one ability, and it's simpler to do it that way. So I think I'll do something similar to that. But I like the idea that the horses are maybe like weird elk or something like that, right? Like, so it's like masked figures riding elk. I want to do a lot of frost stuff, like the elks, antlers. Or maybe they're deer, or maybe they're horses riding icy horses. The horses have antlers made of ice. That like they're not deer, but they do have these like big weird ice antlers that they can use in like a trample attack, right? So the horsepower is that they can trample and gore. Yeah, they're like caribou-ish, but I like the idea that they aren't caribou. Right, they're horses. So there's something weird and unnatural about it. Like they're horses with antlers rather than just being like it's riding a caribou. Trample and gore. The rider then, like I think it's a spear. You know what I mean? Like if you're on the back of a horse,
and you're a hunter, I feel like it's a spear. Maybe there's a bow as well. Yeah, you could do a thing where like 2 of the huntsmen are archers and stay at a distance, and 2 of them go charging in. I kind of like that. Yeah. So the rider has a spear attack. Like they get advantage on a charge. And then they also have a bow attack. It's funny, I was going to make centaurs for the podcast that we just did for the centaur episode. Which are, I was going to do like a lancer and an archer. Oop. So that seems very similar, right? I feel like that wouldn't be too hard to do something like that. Maybe they ride double and the archers slide off. Oh, that's kind of cool. Riding double is interesting. It's like, yeah, that's only 2 horses as they get in range. It almost feels like a chariot, which is kind of cool. Ooh, yeah, maybe Yolnir has a chariot. The rest of them are on horses, but Yolnir has a chariot. I like that. A chariot. Just to give it some extra flavor. Like, he's the leader, right? I'm trying to think what he does. He's definitely got the war horn. War horn that bolsters his allies, right? Because I could see him kind of staying removed. Like, I like the idea that if they, like, do the kind of Chitauri Avengers thing, like, if they kill Yolnir, they, like, the winter, like this, the rest of the huntsmen disappear. Huntsmen disappear, and the winter and the blizzard stops, right? It's like, that's the win condition. Ooh, that's something we should do too. Ooh, he's gonna have a raven, not an eagle. Yeah, that's cool. A raven. Like, as a bonus action, he sends out a pair of ravens. Yeah, he sends out a pair of, like, white ravens to harass targets. I like the idea that he doesn't actually participate in the fight. That, like, he has the chariot, but he stays at a distance and kind of watches it. And he'll use his action to blow his horn on a recharge, and he sends his ravens out, and they can pick targets to harry them, right? Ooh, spellcaster is cool too, actually. That feels very Odin. Yeah, I like that. Casts a number of rune spells. The spells cause strange effects on their targets. There's a cool part in the Havamal, which is the hunt will never end. Yeah, that's cool. Ooh, makes the storm worse. I like that. But there's a cool section of the Havamal, which is like the Wisdom of Odin. It's basically like a bunch of kind of like life lessons that Odin teaches you, and he's got a long list where he lists out his spells. These are all the spells I know, and it's super Dungeons and Dragons, right? Because he's like, I know a spell. If I see a sixth spell, I know if I see a man hanged, I can draw this rune on his forehead, and he will speak to me, right? So it's like speak with dead or charm person or whatever, right? He's got a bunch of those. So like, I like the idea of him having a couple of rune spells that he can cast on individual people, and then they kind of hover there. Okay, I like your idea of like when he dies, the hunt never ends kind of a thing. Ooh, he throws them. Yeah, that's neat. I like that. He throws the spears. He throws rune spears. Because then it's the thing where like you can get hit with the spear, and then the spear's in you, and you can pull it out, right? What is what from Nuker Wolf? The Havamal? That's an Old Norse poem. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what are some of these spells, because I like them being individual targets. I don't hate the idea of like the storm getting worse with the Warhorn. It bolsters his allies or makes the storm worse. Yeah, that's what the Raven does. Rather than having it like harass targets, yeah, you could break the spear. I think that's cool. Okay, so these are so many good ideas, y'all. You're throwing them all out here. He sends a white raven to search for the boy. He sends a white raven to search for the quarry. Like thrown at the PCs. Oh no, you don't think so? Oh, he throws them up. I see. I like them being like he throws. That's what Odin does, right? He throws Gungnir, his spear. He sends a white raven to find the child. Once the raven finds them, he wheels off in search of his quarry. Yeah. Never rune spells, and strange effects on their targets. A confusion spell. Like a cold spell. It's another good one. I think 3 is plenty. I don't want to do a fire spell. I like cold. Cold, confusion. Yeah, no, that's cool. I'm Grant, no worries. Bane is good. Yeah, Bane. A curse. A curse spell. Yeah, maybe make this one a charm. Makes you attack an ally. Yeah, that's cool. I think that's pretty good. Bow attack. Oh, I want to do this for the bow. They can disengage as a bonus action. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then when you defeat him, the blizzard disappears, and the huntress mark vanishes from the kid. Yeah, I kind of think that's cool. Is that it? Like, did we do the whole adventure? Oh no, this is the shortest stream of all time. I think that's it. Because I think all I need is the monsters and the setting. You know, we can do a little bit of flavor stuff, like maybe what's the village name? We got to come up with a cool name for it. It probably should be something in English. My instinct is to immediately go do some cool Norse name, but I think for the sake of the kids, the little village should be called something understandable. Yeah, short and sweet. That was so easy. Well, I'll say it's easy because I had so many people here in the chat helping me, right? A lot of great ideas very quickly. Let's think of a cool name, like Winter something, or like that's a little on the nose, right? If it's like on the, my instinct is called like White Lake or something like that, like a very simple kind of Minnesota small town name. There's the place in Minnesota called White Bear Lake, which is what I'm thinking of now. They will definitely fill the time with the building of traps. That's what I'm imagining, M. Grant. They're gonna just want to build traps the whole time. Like a big barrel of tar. If we even get to Yolnir, I'll be pretty surprised, honestly, because I'll be like, ooh, we'll do this and do this and do this. Ooh, maybe a player gets a brand. Yeah, that's awesome. The person who slays him gets a brand. Yeah, whomever slays Yolnir gets the brand. I love that. Slays Yolnir gets the brand. That's so good. It's the brand for next time. Cool. I love that. It transforms, he looks like a polar bear. Yeah, that's cool. The white bear. Let's do that. Not a werewolf, but he's a werebear. Is the child a werebear? Always a good question. It's 9 p.m. Where is your child? Is your child a werebear? I like White Lake, I think is a good name for the town. Name White Lake. Just very simple, right? I know in Old Norse white is hvit or kvit, but you don't want to do that. That'd be too hard for them to pronounce. So yeah. Then White Bear Lake would be a fun tie back. Yeah, I like that. Okay. I think that's it, everybody. I think that's all. I feel bad. It was like a 30-minute stream. That did not take very long. Ooh, White Lake is kind of cool. Yeah. Interesting. White Lake. White Lake. White Lake. And I think they do that thing where like when you defeat one of the Huntsmen, they burst into ice, right? Like kind of White Walker style. Yeah, that's cool. I'm into it. Yeah. I think that's it. Nice job, everybody. Okay, cool. So let's see. The players arrive in this small town called White Lake or White Lake, depending. It seems abandoned. The characters have been traveling overland for some time. The snowstorm has kind of come down. The town of White Lake on the shores of White Lake. That's pretty funny. They're traveling overland for some time. The snowstorm comes in, and then I'm about to... Excuse me. About to sneeze. They see some evidence of activity in the village, whether there's some smoke or maybe a shadow. I like the idea of those snowman decoys that David suggested in the county White Lake. Yeah. They then meet a small family in the ruins, one of whom is cursed. They have the hunter's mark, which is a runic symbol on their forehead that makes them a target for the wild hunt. Is this child a werebear? The family is initially suspicious at first, but when they see the heroes are armed adventurers, they ask them for help. You know, potentially they kind of try to attack them. Maybe they just brandish a woodcutter's axe. Yeah, David says why. Nuker Wolf asks a very good question. I think why would the town be abandoned in the first place? And David says summer fishing season is over. I think that's exactly right. Like, I like the world building too, but I worry that we don't have time for it, right, in this session. I don't want to overbuild, but I think David's explanation is perfect. That it's one of those, like, that's a very Midwestern idea of, like, our cabin up at the lake that we don't go to in the winter. I think it's like one of those situations where these people are running from the wild hunt, so they're hiding out in this old... I don't think it's, like, abandoned in the sense that it's ruined, right? I think it's abandoned in the sense that it's winter, right? So after they meet the parents, they hear this distant blowing of a horn. The wild hunt is approaching. The characters have about an hour before they get here to do whatever they want, to try to prepare. And they have a big list of things they can kind of play with in the village. So they could make more snowman decoys. They could try to weaken the ice, as that's the direction that they're coming from. Oh, he lived in Arctic, Alaska for a while. They had the whole fish camp they went to in the summer only. Interesting. They try to weaken the ice. The horses fall into the ice. They scavenge junk in the village, whether it's carts, wagons, anchors, fishing poles, that kind of thing. The icicles around some of the buildings, big barrels of tar for the boats. The family is two women, two moms, an older son, and a younger sister. The older son is frightened. Turns out he's actually a werebear. He doesn't want his power to come out, right? But the younger sister wants to fight them. The parents don't want the younger sister to fight, but she insists. She insists, not she insteads. She insists. So there's some element of, like, make sure that the young kid doesn't get hurt, right? And then if things do get really bad and the young kid does get hurt, then the older son goes into werebear mode and goes out to help the party. If they kind of get, too badly off. And then we have the monsters. So we have the wild hunt is led by Yolnir, who's in a chariot drawn by a pair of, maybe you do a pair of goats, right, to make a Thor reference. That's cool. Then they've got a war horn that bolsters his allies and makes the storm worse. If they kill Mjolnir, the rest of the huntsmen disappear and the blizzard stops. He sends out a white raven to try to find the child. Once the raven finds them, then he wheels off in search of them. He can cast a number of rune spells on his turn to kind of, like, mess with them. And then whoever slays Mjolnir gets the brand for themselves. Meanwhile, we have the 4 huntsmen who are kind of masked figures riding on icy horses that have, like, big ice antlers. They can trample and they can gore, and then they have there's 2 different types, and there's the spear attack, which gives them advantage on a charge, and they have the bow attack where they can disengage and fire with their icy arrows. Ooh, I like the idea of making them ice arrows. Nuger Wolf says if it's only summer, then the party would only find summer supplies. I think that makes sense. I think for the most part the supplies are summer supplies. Carts, wagons, cranes, anchors, fishing poles, fishing nets. I think the only thing that's not are the ice shoes. But I actually don't think it's unreasonable that they would have some winter supplies there. Maybe not a lot, but, like, a little bit, because people probably do come there in the winter regardless. So I appreciate the verisimilitude, but I'm not particularly worried about it in this case. Yeah, if Odin, the horse has got to be named Sleipnir, exactly, and has 8 legs. I kind of like the idea of it being a chariot drawn by goats, which again is Thor's thing, but this isn't Odin, right? It's Mjolnir, who's a totally different, legally distinct character. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's where we're gonna cut it, y'all. I'm sorry that was a quick one. We only really streamed for about 40 minutes, but you're such a good chat, you guys just blasted through it. I think that's all awesome. Sleipnir, I see what you did there, M. Grant. I see what you did. Thank you so much for coming out, everybody. This was a really fast one, but now I feel very well armed for the adventure. I assume the kids won't. It's their first time, but I appreciate that we've gone through the paces on the world building. That way I at least can answer, like, it is odd. You're not sure why these ice shoes are here, you know? But I don't think they're going to be too worried about it. I'd rather just give them the cool thing, right? Yeah, definitely a short adventure, short stream. I think it's going to be fun. I'll let you know how it goes. We will be back on Thursday with another monster design stream. We're going to talk about the Chimera, and I have some wacky ideas. I was going to stream on Thursday last week, but I got my booster, and it just knocked me on my ass for like 2.5 days, so I was unable to stream that day, alas. But we will be back on Thursday. And we'll be doing a monster design stream for the Chimera, and I'm really looking forward to that one. I have some radical ideas I can't wait to implement on the Chimera. That'll be Thursday, though. Obviously, in the meantime, please subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. You can find us on Twitter and Patreon and all of the internet places. I would love to see you all there. I want to give a shout out to everybody who came today. Thanks to David for always being here. I appreciate it, David. Thanks to Shadowner, M. Grant, Nuker Wolf. I almost thanked the weird Russian bot, but we don't need to thank them. I think that was everybody, but it was very active. This was a great chat. I was worried initially that we were going to have nobody, and I was proven very pleasantly wrong. So thank you, everyone, for taking the time to come and hang out with me. I hope the rest of your winter break is good. I will hopefully talk to y'all on Thursday when we were talking about the Chimera. Thanks again for the quick stream, and until next time, happy adventuring, everybody.